Johnson and Vice President Kamala Harris as they wait for President Biden to come. Now, President Biden is going to bring a major focus to this speech about the U.S. economy. According to excerpts released by the White House, Biden will say this is the greatest story never told to many Americans. Why is that? Well, Biden's going to say that under his presidency, he's added roughly 15 million jobs. That's a record for any president. Many Republicans will push back against that, saying those jobs were naturally going to come back as the economy recovered from the pandemic. Secondly, is going to point out the unemployment rate at 3.7%. That's a serious drop since when he took office. And he's also going to discuss inflation. Now, inflation is down at about 3.1%. It had peaked at 9.1% in the summer of 2022. And that really hurt the president's approval rating. And he still knows that Americans are struggling with the cost of housing and groceries. And we see in these numbers that many Americans are not satisfied by his economic leadership. Just 34% approve. So tonight is the opportunity for the president to try to bring the country over to his side, to see things his way, as he believes the country is faring. It is a chance for him in an election year to go after his likely competitor in this year's election, Republican Donald Trump, the former president, a possible rematch of the 2020 election. Now, according to aides, Biden is not going to say Trump's name. He's going to talk about his predecessor. He's going to talk about someone else who is similarly his age. Biden is 81, Trump is 77. He wants to draw that contrast on what it means to govern responsibly, on what it means to have a sense of optimism about where the country is and where it could go. This is his chance to try to define Trump and reintroduce Trump's administration to voters. Now, Republicans will then be able to follow.
What's going on, Rebel?
Senator
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Man, just listening to a little bit of this stuff as they're waiting on Joe Biden, who showed up a little late today.
They had to change his diaper, bro.
To get by in an era.
I heard they're going to have intermissions for this State of the Union.
Are you sure?
That's what I heard. That's the rumor. There's going to be 30 minutes in. There'll be an intermission for 10 minutes. And then the next 30, there'll be another intermission for 10 minutes.
Is it so he can like go to the bathroom or whatever?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, when you're old like that, I mean,
we got 88 people watching right now.
Will be a moment of high
What's up, everybody? Let me hear some comments. Let me see what you're going to think.
He needs to be able to convince the country that he deserves a.
Who's that lame-o talking, bro?
Just someone on AP. He's just kind of breaking it down, letting everyone know like what to expect when Biden takes office. Takes the stand tonight.
Because he's supposed to speak at 9:10, I guess is the official time, but he just left the White House, right? Like 6 minutes ago.
Yeah. He's there. He actually just got to because they're talking about him late, and then as he was leaving, some of his family was waving at him from the balcony, and he was like, "Don't jump! I promise, I need you." Probably one of those where he's channeling his money from China, through his family members. Maybe that's what he was talking about. Yeah.
And you see, my favorite part is all the interaction with all the Senate and Congress and all there, how they all talk to each other. It's like none of them know each other. They're just there to be there. And then it's all the people in behind the closed doors that are doing everything, it seems like.
Well, it's kind of like, hey, man, the camera is on. So everyone, let's shake hands and act like we're getting along. But at the end of the day, I think they are, though, right?
No, I don't think so. It's probably like a high school. You know what I'm saying? They all got cliques, probably make fun of certain ones. They're all worried about what kind of pictures they got on everybody. What kind of pictures they got on you? You know what I'm saying? It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
If you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, we have 100 people listening to us right now. We are looking forward to Joe Biden taking the stage. In my opinion, I think he's going to fumble and bumble through a few things. Do you think he's going to mention the name Donald Trump at all? tonight.
100%, bro. He's going to call out MAGA. He's going to say MAGA, Trump.
You think so? They're saying
extremism,
that there's no way his like hands are tied. He's not going to mention one word about it.
No, he's going to go hard on MAGA.
You think so?
Yeah, he's going to call us all, extremist. We hate immigrants, stuff like that. He's going to pull all the tricks. And it should be interesting. I mean, I'm curious to see how good it goes because I guess he's been at Camp David for the last 5 days.
Right. He's been preparing for the speech. Well, plus he's like on vacation 38% of the time. So, I mean, that's half vacation, half preparation, right?
No, it's probably him just reading it. And I'm sure he's probably going to get heckled. So it should be interesting. It should be interesting because you remember we had MTG last year yell out liar.
Yeah, that's true.
So it should be interesting because you always get one half claps, the other half doesn't clap. And I guess Biden's got to lay out what he's going to do for 2024 and why we should vote for him. We'll see if he gets my vote tonight.
I tell you one thing he's not going to do. He's not going to mention the border at all unless it's, I would love to do something about the border, but Donald Trump and the Republicans are the reason why we can't get anything done. It has nothing to do with that. I signed all those executive orders to open the border up. You had a grand opening at the border a few weeks ago. I mean, it had nothing to do with that.
He's going to want money. That's what he's going to say. He's like, oh, I can close the border if y'all send me lots of money. Y'all idiots.
Hey, I haven't had you in a while since we was on that family trip, but hey, what was going on with the 300,000 people that Biden flew in? Is there any evidence of that, or is that BS?
Yeah, I guess it's one of those NGO services where they get charity money, and it's those groups that are bringing them all over here, and they put them up in the hotels. It's crazy that they just showed you that they could fix homelessness overnight with all the migrants. But they said Americans, nah, immigrants, yes.
So definitely the biggest crowd so far that we've had on one of these StreamYard broadcasting live. But anyway, let me hear a little bit. It sounds like someone's clapping for someone. I imagine it might be Joe Biden. Let's listen in.
That's Joe Biden. How come when I leave a comment, it comes up under Why Kingdom News?
Say what?
I put a comment in, right? I was going to try to put a comment in, but it comes up as Why Kingdom News. Is that because, I don't know. Let me go to YouTube. We up on YouTube?
Yeah, it's up on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's up on Facebook and X. We also have Donald Trump and Truth Social, so we can show live comments of when Donald Trump's talking about, because he's going to be rebutting everything.
Okay.
You should be walking in here. Do you think, what's the over under if someone's going to be helping him to the stage?
0. I mean, he's going to walk in himself, but what are the odds he falls? Imagine that, bro. Imagine that. That'd be wild. It falls down. How come I couldn't add my stuff, bro? Where's my thing at?
We're trying to add, bud.
I was going to try to add mine here. Let me pull mine up. Can I put this in there? Is that on there? Breaking live. Is this live public? Save changes. Does that mean I'm live now on my channel?
No, you're in there, bro.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna pull it up. Yeah, it should be very interesting. I can't hear it in there. Is there volume for inside there in that chamber?
Yeah, can you hear the feed right now?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had it on mute. Here it is right here. So the guy from AP, he's just kind of announcing like Joe Biden, he tripped and fell. They're helping him out. They're about to get him in there. Yeah, he'll be there in a minute.
Yeah, because I'm waiting for him. Don't they bring out the general of arms guy comes out and say, attention, ladies and gentlemen, President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden. And then they all clap.
Yeah, have you seen Hunter yet there?
Nah, I don't think he's going to show up. I don't think he's going to show up. Maybe that was the guy on the balcony you're talking about, and he told him not to jump.
No. Maybe that's why they find that bag of cocaine in the White House.
Yeah, he's up there getting lit.
Daddy's not home. Let's have a party while he's gone, right?
100%.
And then behind Granholm is someone very important. That is Alejandro Mayorkas. the
Alejandro
Secretary of,
Mayorkas. I thought they impeached him.
DHS. He was recently.
Yeah, technically he's impeached by
Yeah,
the
impeached by the House, just like Trump
Senate.
did, right?
What's that? Yeah, it's not gonna be brought up in the
To
Senate.
impeach him, and that means Mayorkas'
That guy's a
trial
bum.
could go before
Pete
the Senate.
Buttigieg is there. He a bum.
Buttigieg.
White House Chief of
No
Staff.
bums.
Jeff
Which way I
Zients.
gotta go? This way in the middle? Is that what
Zients
you're
has
trying
been
to do?
building up expectations for tonight,
I
saying
think,
that Biden is
yeah, I
going
think
to
I'm
come
right
out
here.
with a sense of passion. Near Zients is the Veterans.
I guess I'm gonna
Affairs
drink during
Secretary,
this. Do we
Dennis
turn this
McDonough,
into a?
who
I'm gonna
had
turn
been
this
We can
into a
turn this
drinking
into a
game.
drinking
very
game. We have
broad throughout the presidency.
101. It was 102 people watching. So let's hear some comments. Let's see what you got to say
Getting hugs in the middle
about
of the
what you
screen
expect
is
tonight
OMB Director
from Joe
Shalonda
Biden
Young.
in the State of the
Shalonda
Union
Young is
address. Do
one
you
of
think
those
he's going to
masked
inspire
gurus inside the
confidence,
White House who happened
or
to
do you think
negotiate
there's going to be more
this past
question marks
summer
as America
how to
moves
raise the
towards the
debt ceiling,
presidential election in
all
November?
while taking care of her daughter in daycare.
He's gonna freeze up a couple times. How many freezes up?
Is going to be on the hot
You think
seat
so? I
in
don't
the
know.
next
He's reading
week
from the
as the
teleprompter.
White House
He's gonna cough. How many
launches its
coughs he
budget
gonna do? He's gonna do a bunch of
proposal
coughs.
You know what I would do if I was him is just turn the teleprompter around so everyone can just read it instead of him fumbling through it. Just turn the teleprompter around so we can just read it ourselves,
There's
right?
Blinken. He was just over in Sweden, right? Sweden just joined NATO.
There's a bunch of heavy hitters, but none like the president who is about to make the grand entrance here in just a second.
Did they say who's staying home? Does anybody know who's the designated stay home person?
Oh, just in case something like
Yeah.
what was that TV show on Netflix?
Kiefer Sutherland, what was that, 24 or something?
Yeah, I think no, not 24 is the one. I forget what it was, but yeah, Netflix. If you know what I'm talking about, put it in the comments.
They scared to comment. Put a W in put a W in there, chat. Come on, put a W.
Yeah,
in
and
there.
while you're at it, if you're on YouTube, if you're on X or Facebook, definitely follow Kingdom Radio TX, hashtag Kingdom Radio TX, or follow the Rock and Roll Rebel Show. I'll put this stuff up here in just a second. Definitely follow the Rock and Roll Rebel Show.
Is that Mitt Romney? Yeah. He's like, I'm so rich.
Yeah, he's not running again, right?
No, I think he's not running because I think he knows how Utah's finally going to wake up. Those Mormons out there are finally going to realize that Mitt Romney's a joke.
And follow the Rock and Roll Rebel on Twitter.
There's Merrick Garland, Mayorkas. Is that Lloyd Austin right there?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all
We
there.
have a star-studded lineup here.
Yeah, the Supreme Court justices are all there, right? All 9 of them will be there.
Trump still ain't saying nothing on Truth Social. I'm monitoring that. He hasn't said anything yet.
Well, I think Trump's coming out after it, and same with Tucker.
Well, I thought they were going to be giving some kind of a live as it was going.
No, I believe Tucker Carlson is after. He's going to come up after.
Okay.
And then they'll have who's doing the Republican rebuttal? Anybody know? You know, they always have the Republican come out.
I seen that on CBS and NBC. They all have State of the Union address and then with Republican response afterwards. So
Nice.
I don't know if they're going to, I doubt they're going to put Tucker Carlson in there, but I think most of the world will be watching Tucker Carlson and then looking at Truth Social to see what Trump has to say about it. If Trump says anything on Truth Social, I'll definitely have this right here live. Oh, Trump.
Where's Biden at, baby? Where's Biden? He's 6 minutes late. He's 6 minutes late. Are they opening the doors yet?
They're calling him right now.
Oh, they're cheering. Let's go live. Let's give me some volume.
Let's go live. Here we go.
You can see him getting a lot of applause from Democrats in the chamber. Speaker Johnson is also standing up there and applauding for the president as he very slowly makes his way
That
down the aisle.
announcer's trash.
Members.
Welcome Joe Biden to the show.
How's he looking? He got a CPAP marks on.
I don't know. I think he's saying hello. Everyone's kind of giving him some words of encouragement as he makes his way to the stage.
How juiced do you think they juiced him up?
Oh, you think he had a little steroids or something?
They definitely had to juice him.
When he thinks about what his policies mean
Nah.
for constituents.
Yeah, they gave him some
He even
B12 or
reads
something, you know.
local Delaware
Maybe.
newspapers.
Probably gave him a
Sends
bar or two.
letters and
Do you think when he's done
congratulatory
speaking to
notes.
this guy right here, he's going to ask which way is the stage?
So
Oh,
again,
100%.
this is a man at home.
100%. He might fall.
He's made plenty of
No
stairs?
way.
There's
What's the
stairs.
over under? What's the over under?
Back in 1983,
50-50?
when he was a senator, he delivered the Democratic response.
He's like, hey, I don't know your name, but thanks for voting for me.
It was a very unique response.
Chuck
And yet
Schumer
Biden
back there. I
did
can't
so
stand Chuck
without a
Schumer.
suit jacket on and standing up in his office. He had his aides working behind
I
him
think he's
as
just
he
trying to
spoke,
make his
and he
way
literally
slowly
did a
to the
walking
stage
talk
to
like
show
you
that
would
he
see in
he does
TV
have
shows at the West
support in
Wing.
Capitol
Decades
Hill.
later,
Oh,
People
he kinda
do
gets.
like him. It's
and
hard
his
for him to go
vision
anywhere. So many, he's just
was
so
very similar to
popular,
what he might talk about
amongst
tonight,
everyone at Capitol Hill.
that
I
he
think
needed
that's what they're
an
trying to show right
economy
here as
with
he
opportunity
shakes every
and
single
fairness
person's
for
hand in the
workers.
audience that's
And
willing
in doing
willing
that,
to
he
shake his hand.
channeled the
Yeah,
great
well, he comes down the
presidential
Democrat side.
Franklin D. Roosevelt saying,
This
quote,
also might be a
"It
plan
can be done."
so he doesn't trip and
Tonight
fall,
is a
to
chance
have
for
a
him
bunch
to
of people
prove
hold on
that's
to him as he
still
goes by,
possible.
like Weekend at Bernie's.
What's that 153? I've seen someone else have that same 153. What's that 153 representing?
I'm not sure, man.
I've seen a chat. Let me find what's that 153 mean.
You see, Biden is still.
So I saw someone else with that same 153.
Chuck Schumer, the New York
Oh, there's
Senator.
someone in the MAGA hat, 45. Is that Marjorie Taylor Greene? Oh, yeah. See, I guess she wants him to say her name. The Lake and Riley lady.
Biden is going in for
He's sniffing hair and kissing girls, so he's doing good.
with Democrats who know.
It's been 3 minutes for him since I think he came in just to get this far down the aisle. You think they do this on purpose so he can't fall?
No, yeah, they're trying to help him up. Like one person holds his shoulder, like passing him up, like crowd surfing.
Like, you the best, Joe Biden. You the best. This is wild. Hopefully, this is his last one.
Right in front of Biden right now is Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Come on, we got 115 people watching. Let's hear a comment.
Appears to be saying something to
Let's hear a comment.
while wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat and what appears to be a T-shirt supportive of former Republican President Donald Trump.
It's wild. Marjorie Taylor Greene, bro, she's a show.
He's making his way, though. I tell you what, if you're talking about working the crowd, my man's working the crowd. I will give him that.
I wish we had a different feed because sometimes you can hear is what they're sort of talking about in there because that camera right there in front of them's got audio.
Well,
You can see that Biden is posing for more selfies.
Because they don't
other
have
feed that's directly from the White House shows it, and then they have a sign language interpreter
well, hey.
that's off in the side,
At speeches in rallies once COVID restrictions lifted.
but you can't hear what he's saying.
Yeah, he's almost there.
Even 40 minutes.
It should be interesting. How long do you think it's going to go? It's over an hour. It'll probably go over an hour, I imagine.
Well, if he's taking 15-minute breaks, he can go to the bathroom. Who knows?
I'm Mitt Romney. I'm Mitt Romney.
Maybe he's saying his goodbyes.
Joe Manchin from West Virginia. Why does Chuck Schumer walk all the way down with him?
He's holding him up, dog. Weekend at Bernie's type stuff.
Chuck Schumer's an evil man.
Do you remember when we made that graphic? Let me see if I got it. That graphic, Weekend at Biden's.
Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah, they're coming through like that.
This should be interesting.
Yeah, they got a full sign language. Let me see if I see the backup feed.
No, I mean this one's fun. It's just when the guy pops up, it'll be very interesting when I guess he's going to talk immigration, right? He's going to talk about the economy, how it's doing so good.
I highly doubt he's going to mention anything about immigration. He's not going to say one word about immigration.
I mean, because the border's out of control, inflation's out of control. I mean, he's trying to grab a phone. He don't know what he's doing. Look what he's hitting the wrong button on the iPhone. Oh, this gray one. Probably got the camera backwards. Oh my. Joe Biden.
Oh my God, they're screaming 4 more
To
years.
see the president work his own iPhone, but I have.
What?
He has his photos.
Is that a
neatly
drink?
organized.
Do we drink when they chant 4 more years?
Remarkably adept at a touch
I'm
screen.
gonna drink for that.
Are you hearing the 4 more years?
Yeah, I hear it in the background.
Now he's greeting members of the Supreme Court.
I don't know why they don't. This guy right here from the AP just don't give it up and just let the audio go in to the show.
Yeah, let me throw into another version of it. I think it's right here.
It's Neil Gorsuch and Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
Oh wait, not that one. Excuse me. Present
Different angle.
share screen. This one. There, you can get a better close up of them. He's working the crowd, bro. I will give him that. He's working the crowd.
Yeah, that's what they all do. There's Nancy. She got her big heavies covered up.
Is it her turn to hold him up for a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, is that? I think is that the transgender general? Something?
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That looks like I guess a guy would be nice. It is what it is, I guess, these days. Remember, I just saw that meme the other day. Remember Jim Carrey on what was the with Keenan Ivory Wayans in Living Color? Remember he used to dress up as like that bodybuilder in the bikini and all that?
Oh, you talking about where he's like, "Hi, I'm Vera." And he was like,
and now that's 2024 now. Yeah, that's 2024 now. It's wild. 30 years ago. State of the Union is here, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Rock and Roll Rebel Show. I'm tuned in with Kingdom Radio, and we were going to give you a live play-by-play of the State of the Union with Mr. Joseph Biden.
Oh, I seen you just went live on YouTube.
Yeah, I've been up there for a whole minute. 13 minutes, yeah. Here he is. Let's see what he's got to say.
I got a backup feed just in case. What happens to this one?
I'm surprised he didn't give it to Kamala first. This is wild, man. Yeah, just put the big feet in there.
Tony.
How do if I stop camera?
He's getting like a standing ovation, bro. Everyone's like cheering about how great he's doing. Elizabeth Warren and the Indian tribes.
Yeah, she nuts, bro.
David Jill.
Bang that gavel, baby.
Good evening. Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans. In January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation. And he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
That's a lie.
Yeah, that's a damn lie.
Oh, they're standing. Oh,
But
my.
Ukraine,
Oh, my.
You know, you can tell when he's
Ukraine can
lying. His
stop
lips is
Putin.
moving.
Look at this dumb motherfucker.
Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that needs to defend itself. That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking.
You see how
They're
a
not
lot of them
asking for
stood up for
American
Ukraine. They
soldiers.
want that money.
In fact, there are no
Oh, yeah,
American
yeah, yeah.
soldiers in war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." Now,
He's a far cry from Reagan. I will say that too.
100%.
now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote.
That's not
That
quite.
is
former
out
president
of
actually said
context,
that.
big time.
Yeah.
Bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
They want that Ukraine money bad, don't they?
You can tell who's getting paid off. They're clapping.
America is a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace.
Prevent war.
Today, we've made NATO stronger than ever.
We've been at war
Welcome
every single year
Finland to
except
the
for Donald
alliance
Trump.
last year.
I know. We're actually
And
funding
just this
wars.
morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. So they're stand up. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Joe Biden gonna give him a kissy.
But you know what, though? I will say that Joe Biden so far is doing a good job.
And they know how to fight.
He's got that little slur to it at
The
the
Prime
end. Of
Minister,
the
welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has
That
ever seen. I say this to Congress. We have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill.
No, thank you.
History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away.
You can see the House Speaker ain't standing for none of that. Half the room's clapping, half the
We
room
will
is
not
sitting
bow
there.
down.
There's some Republicans standing too over
It's
there.
like
They
two
get
or three.
I will not bow down.
But he's doing a good job, though. He's winning over the crowd. There are people who are
History is watching.
excited about what he's saying.
History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th,
Oh my!
when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you were here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots.
Where's the pipe
They
bomber?
come
at?
to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy.
Oh, I struggled
since
on
the
that
Civil
read.
War.
Oh, they stole
But they
the election, you
failed.
know it.
Yeah, 100%.
America stood.
You can see the House Speaker just sitting there like,
America
okay,
stood
whatever.
strong, and democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th.
He won't say his name,
I
huh?
will not do that.
He might.
This is the moment to
No,
speak
maybe
the
not.
truth and to
Keep
bury
saying
the lies.
President.
Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
They wrote a nice speech. It's going over really good. Mike's face.
As I've done ever since being elected to office, I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office is defending against all threats, foreign and domestic. Respect free and fair elections, restore trust in our institutions, and make clear political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place. Again, it's not hyperbole to suggest history is watching. We're watching. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child. The Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the right to AVF. Guarantee it nationwide.
There's a lot of people that have to get babies that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm down with that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right.
Roe.
Thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more.
I think we should arm the baby, arm the unborn. Give them time.
Thank you.
Trump said that's the longest walk in presidential history.
To see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk if she didn't act. Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed. What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need.
Next to her.
So
Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much.
even Kamala's like, man, what is this dude talking about?
We give it back to the state. That's where it should belong. The federal government should have control of enforcement.
Have you taken a cognitive
No, I haven't taken the test.
Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Oh, here comes the call. Got a drink.
There's a couple people with a puzzled face,
Hey, yo,
but
Steve.
most, I would say at least half the people are cheering for that.
You, the American people,
All the Dems are, yeah.
send me a Congress that supports the right to choose. I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
What are you gonna do then?
He'll do it, man. Just don't worry about it.
Folks, America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses. Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives of loved ones, millions left behind. A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable.
Oh, they're screaming lies, lies.
I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news in 1,000 cities and towns. The American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told.
Kind of boring of a speech.
So let's tell the story here. Tell it here and now. America's comeback is building the future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down, investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot. We leave no one behind. The pandemic.
What happened? Froze up. Oh my. So far, my takeaway from the speech till we get the audio corrected. Kind of boring.
Yeah. Folks, I hear the economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years. A record. A record.
Yeah, every time Trump makes a statement on Truth Social, I'm posting it on here.
Right. Yeah.
At 50-year lows. Record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope. With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting. Where is it written we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? We are, we will. More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before.
Obamacare.
The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years.
I think that's a lie.
Wages keep going up. Inflation keeps coming down.
What? That's
Inflation
a lie.
has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world, and tending lower.
Where's this at?
Dude, if he said it, it's got to be true. What are you talking about?
It will be soft.
I just paid $10 for a pound of
importing foreign products and exporting American jobs. We're exporting American products and creating American jobs right here in America, where they belong.
In China, I mean, where I love.
Yeah, I mean,
and it takes time, but the American people are beginning to feel it.
He's got some jobs for the migrants.
Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring. Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy America.
He ain't gonna say his name.
Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you fund, like helping build American roads, bridges, and highways, will be made with American products and built by American workers.
How long have they been saying that? They've never done.
Creating good paying American jobs.
It's all repeat.
It's the immigrants, right? The immigrants are going to get all the jobs now.
And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before.
Doesn't all that go to Taiwan and Nancy Pelosi and Nvidia stock?
That drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America.
Well, they're giving
payoffs. Tens of
payoffs.
thousands of jobs.
Yeah.
Many of those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree. In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America.
Oh, boy. He can barely get a couple sentences out without everyone clapping.
Yeah.
And thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you have strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you.
Blue collar job still legal. Gotcha.
100%.
If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know.
He'll be glad to take it.
Modernizing roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage.
Brain damage.
Providing affordable high-speed internet for every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural communities, in red states and blue states. Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in family farms, because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody I know, we're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren won't have to leave home to make a living. It's transformative.
He invested in family farms. What?
Belvedere, Illinois.
I don't know what he was talking
Home
about.
to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office, and we raised the Belvedere repeatedly with auto companies, knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, a new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same.
All the manufacturers are going away from electric cars now.
What do you think Trump's doing right now? Taking notes?
He's probably watching it, and he probably has people next to him tweeting while he
instead
says
of your
stuff.
town being left behind,
Or on Truth
the
Social.
community is moving forward
No,
again.
he's not saying nothing on truth.
Because instead of watching auto jobs of the future go overseas, 4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America.
It all sounds good on talk like that, but then you go to these cities, it's like one plant. You know what I'm saying? It's not helping out the whole community.
Here tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up. And Dawn Sims, a third generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line. And today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown,
Now Biden's at
providing
picket.
stability for her
Picking-
family.
He's
pride
appealing
and
to the
dignity as
farmers. He's
well.
investing. He's
Showing once again,
the union
Wall
workers,
Street
auto.
didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though.
He's hitting all the
Middle
talking
class built
points.
the country, and unions built the middle class. I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America. That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is bright. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
You think this speech was made this way so to have all these pauses and claps so it could seem like it's longer than what it really is?
I think these speeches are usually like this. They say a few words and people clap. You see how they have the camera angled to the people who are actually believing this stuff?
Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the United States combined. And I represented it for 36 years. I'm not anti-corporation.
Delaware? Yeah, that's where he's
I
from.
grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table. That's why I determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor go way up and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. And there's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it.
How is he doing that? By giving out more free money so there's more inflation? I don't get it.
With the law that I proposed and signed, not one of you Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit.
Didn't he raise insulin when he came in? Trump had it at $10, and then he got rid of that bill and then went up.
But what to do next? I want to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for every American in Egypt. Everyone.
Every American in Egypt?
Every American in Egypt.
Oh, that
For
needs
years.
it.
People have talked about it, but finally we got it done. We gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs, just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money, it's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion.
Yeah, Bernie got it on, buddy.
Are we going to talk about COVID?
Because
yeah.
Medicare
COVID's
will
dead,
no
right?
longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market that treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade. They're making a lot of money, guys. And they'll still be extremely profitable. Will not only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion. Starting next year, the same law caps total prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year, even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Now I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone.
Oh, no. That's expensive.
Folks, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, even Moscow, probably.
Do you
Bring
what?
your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, is still a very big deal.
They put a few Democrats on the front row, so it looks like everyone's cheering, sort of.
Yeah, the Dems, they just show the camera from the Dems on the left-hand side. All the Republicans are on the right.
But there's like two rows of Democrats in the front of the
Can
Republicans.
no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. Well, my predecessor, and many in this chamber want to take this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen. We stopped you 50 times before and we'll stop you again. In fact, I'm not only
A bunch of just rambling stuff. None of this is going to happen. None of it's going to pass, whatever you're trying to
tax
do.
credits of $800 per person per year, reduce healthcare costs for millions of working
Sounds like
families.
he's going to raise taxes.
That tax credit expires
Oh, they already talked
next
about
year.
that.
I want to make that savings permanent. To state the obvious, women are more than half our population, but research on women's health has always been underfunded. That's why we're launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady.
Yeah, Maurice Bradley.
We'll pass my plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research and benefit millions of lives.
It was $12 billion of taxpayers' money for women's research.
I know the
We already
cost of
have that.
housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well.
They're trying to buy
The
votes,
Fed
dog.
acknowledges that.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm
raise
not
taxes,
waiting.
it seems like. Just spend
I
money.
want to
Let's just
provide an
spend more
annual
money.
tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years.
He's giving Americans $400 a month.
$400 a month for 2 years if they buy a home or trade up to a home. So, I mean, most
And
people
my
already have.
administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages.
Sounds communist to me.
When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence.
What?
For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide.
Yeah, they're
Now
all built by
pass.
illegals.
Yeah.
Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down.
I wonder if the Republicans will stand up for anything he says.
To remain the strongest economy in the world,
No.
we need to have the best education system in the world. And I suspect all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think I pointed out last year that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard a million
Trump
fewer
would get rid
words
of that
spoken.
COVID stuff, bro.
Well, studies show
No.
that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is. I met a year and a half ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable. They were mad that they were angry. I think, well, they were discussing why I wanted to spend money on education. I pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most.
Look at Mike's face.
CEOs. And you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them and I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world?
Huh?
They all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want to expand high quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade.
Yeah, wasn't Joe Biden's tutor for his kids?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then they ended
Did you
up
see them?
he left his wife or
local
whatever. His wife
businesses in
died
high
and he
school.
to jail.
So students get hands-on experience and a path to good paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure the college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments
More taxes.
in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions. And I was told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt.
But he can't fix the
for
border
nearly
that was already
4
fixed.
million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service. Like Keenan Jones, a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college.
Because without Joe Biden, there's no way he could have did that on his own, right?
Folks, look.
Yeah. Joe Biden.
Such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise. And by the way, the first couple of years, we cut the deficit. Now, let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the federal deficit over $1 trillion. I signed the bipartisan deal to cut another $1 trillion in the next decade. It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations and very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
They pay like 90% of all the taxes anyway right now.
If Joe Biden said it, it has to be true, dude. What are you talking about?
That's true.
I'm a capitalist. If you want to make or can make $1 million or millions of bucks, that's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes.
I think we pay too much
A fair
tax.
tax code. It's how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy, the biggest corporation, and exploded the federal deficit.
What?
They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet. In
Maybe if
fact,
we could get inflation down, we could start with that first.
the child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit. No child should go hungry in this country. The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Remember in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore.
He's like Robin
Thanks to the
Hood.
law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%.
But he's not going to raise the taxes if you make over
every big
400,000.
corporation finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million that could be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay. No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse.
I mean, half the audience is eating this up. They really are. They're clapping and they're happy. It looks like.
Minimum tax
Yeah, they were
for
probably told we're
billionaires
gonna
of
give them a
25%,
speech and
just
just clap away.
25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America. Imagine a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get they need to go to work to help grow the economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine the future of home care and elder care, and people living with disabilities so they can stay in their homes and family caregivers can finally get the pay they deserve.
It's the White House Senior
Tonight,
Living Center.
Let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you. The working people who
Like
built
the
this
same old
country
talking points. Same old.
pay
Yeah.
more into Social Security than
politicians.
millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh no, you guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what you're planning.
They're screaming, liar, liar.
Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealth. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share.
I was hoping Joe was going to go off the rails with that, but
Too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking,
bro.
It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's
shrinkflation.
bill and stop this. I really mean it.
It's all the grocer's fault. They're raising prices for no reason. That's what he's saying, right? The restaurants are charging too much when they don't have to. They're just gouging for no reason.
You probably all saw that commercial on Snickers bars.
Not going anywhere for a while.
You get charged the same amount, and you got about, 10% fewer Snickers in it. Look,
What
I'm
the
also
hell?
getting rid of
Yeah,
the
or else
fees.
they'd have to raise that
Those
pack
hidden
of
fees.
Snickers up to $10.
At the end of your bill, they're there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8.
how about no dollars?
Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's a hell of a lot, like $8 and 30 some dollars. They don't like it. Credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating. Folks at home, that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front so there are no surprises. It matters. It matters. And so does this. In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so?
Some blank
Oh, you
faces
don't
on the
like
left
that
there,
bill, huh?
on the left side of his
That
audience.
conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
Come on, close the border.
No, he ain't gonna talk about the border, dog.
What do you get?
That's
He
off
wants to
limits.
just hire more agents to process more immigrants.
He put a lot of fencing around the White House. I've seen that.
100 more high-tech
Yeah, why they
drug
put fence
detection
around the
machines
White House?
to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children. This bill would save lives and bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know.
Oh, they're all shaking their head now, bro. He should have never
I
mentioned
know
the
you know
border.
how to read.
Yeah.
I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels political win. He viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him.
He's stumbling now. He's
It's
talking
not
about Trump.
him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really.
What MTG say?
He's about to walk off the stage, I think.
Lincoln,
Look, the
Lincoln
drugs are wearing
Riley,
off. That's what Trump
an
said.
innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals?
Say your name.
To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth it taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 months, 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
It's
Yeah.
all talking points.
5,000 people a day should come across. And then we can think about
It's no
closing the
solution.
border.
Just talking points, political.
And
Oh,
my
don't that sound
predecessor is
good?
watching. Instead of paying
He was
politics,
saying, build that wall.
pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together. But that's what here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not separate families. I will not ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more.
Hey, reverse
Secure the
everything.
border.
Title 42.
Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more. But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws
100%.
from old and new. Home to Native Americans and ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of every place, from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere, but we're all Americans.
He back to coughing.
Yeah.
That's what Trump said. He always coughing. That's what Trump said.
Look, folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it.
You're not ready to fix it. You
Send
shut
me
it
the
down.
border bill now. transformational moment.
He definitely got it fixed. He got it wide open.
59 years ago today.
He got a door
Selma,
stopper.
Alabama.
You can keep it open.
Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote.
You got to
They were
bring race
beaten.
into it, dog. You got
They
to
were
pull the
bloody.
race card.
Conquer and
And left
divide.
for
baby.
dead.
Yeah, man.
Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him.
Show the
Joining us
lady.
tonight,
Show the lady. Show her. There she is.
Is that his wife or something?
Yeah, the
both
marching.
in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma. The daughter of gospel singers and preachers, she sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help shake the nation's conscience. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law.
By Republicans.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
He's getting them stirred up, though. I will say that. He's getting people stirred up.
It's quite boring. It's just like the same old talking points that you could have did his speech last year or any other politician.
Well, normally it
59
never has an
years
audience.
later,
It's no like
Our
move
forces
forward
taking
what
us
we're going
back
to
in
do.
time.
It's just send him money. He needs
voter
money.
suppression,
Yeah.
election subversion, unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering. John Lewis was a great friend to many of us here. But if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Right Act.
How about voter ID? Give me that. Give me that.
Yeah, voter ID. You ain't going to say that.
I'm Hakeem
And
Jeffries.
stop.
I like to rhyme.
Stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history. I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans, I have your back.
He's got the transgenders back. They
Pass
do know
the
that.
PRO Act, for workers' rights. Raise the federal minimum wage, because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an
No,
hour.
that's for kids, bro. I can't pay $30 for chicken nuggets.
We're also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it. I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I
Oh
hope you do.
my. The drift of drifts.
I'm taking the most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world. I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030, creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs like the IBW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. Conserving
Those are
30%
blood
of
cards,
America's
right?
lands and
Blood
waters
cards.
by 2030.
I think so.
And taking action on environmental justice fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And pattern after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade.
He won't even be around for a decade.
To state the obvious, all Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer
farts,
today
baby.
than when I took office.
Cow
The
farts.
year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up.
What was that?
The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my American Rescue Plan, which every American voted against, I'm mad
Oh,
at.
that dude screaming?
We made the largest
Something about the
investment
Marines, I
in
thought.
public safety ever. Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than 50 years. But we have more to do. We have to help cities invest in more
Crime
community
is
police
falling?
officers.
They got the National
More mental
Guard in the
health workers.
subway in New York
More
City.
community violence intervention.
Oh, that's not for crime. That's something
Community
else.
control to crack down on gun crime retail crime, and carjacking.
What?
Keep building trust, as I've been doing by taking executive action on police reform.
I guess he's not thinking that the open borders aren't really affecting the crime.
Directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record. Take on crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator.
That's a good question.
So we can finally end the scourge against women in America.
True Social's buffering.
Yeah.
There are other kinds of violence I want to stop. With us tonight is Jasmine.
He's deep
His
state.
9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days.
I don't know why Johnson's
We
nodding
spent
on so
hours
many
and
different
hours with
things.
Each of the families.
He's deep
We
state
heard their
too.
message.
Deep state.
So everyone in this room, in this
They just
chamber,
passed that
could hear
crazy
the same message.
bill for like $6 trillion.
Constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family.
Got all those earmarks in
He
it.
said, do something. Do something. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House. That the Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing it.
That's actually really good.
Meanwhile,
Oh, we got some more protests going on up there.
Yeah, pretty much.
meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oh. After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it.
When did he say that?
I say, stop it.
I don't know. What he
Stop it, stop it, stop it.
Take all the guns from the good people and just the bad ones will
I'm
have.
proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Pass universal background check.
Oh.
You already have
None
background
of this.
check.
None of this.
His son lied
The
on his
Second
background
Amendment
check.
for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners.
Oh shit, not
You know,
good.
as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East. I know the last 5 months
Look
have
at
been
this
gut-wrenching
dumb
for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And 250 hostages taken. Here in this chamber tonight,
We want to give
are
money to
families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also
He's not going to talk about that journal from Ukraine.
There you go. There we go. Now we have two people standing and clapping. Somehow looking over there like, hey, people are standing and clapping. That's the first thing he said. Look, Joe's surprised.
will also work
About the
They're all
Holocaust.
blackmailed.
Around the
They're all
clock.
blackmailed. Jeffrey
to
Epstein.
bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has the right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has a added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards under hospital.
I guess he doesn't watch Twitter and see all the videos. What is
No,
it?
he
Israel also
doesn't.
has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza.
So we're going to
This
give Israel
war-
the missiles and we're going to give the Palestinians food. That's interesting.
has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom
Says who?
are not Hamas.
Right?
Thousands and thousands of innocents, women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin, families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza.
That's
That
not
can
going to go
receive
well.
large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters.
Yeah, they're taking it.
No U.S. boots will be on the ground.
What?
A temporary
build a pier.
pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
But they're taking the assistance. You've seen that on X. Trump said, what a contrast between Republicans and Democrats.
Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers.
Why don't you
aren't
just
caught
tell
in the
Israel to quit
crossfire.
bombing? Just innocent
They're
Palestinians.
announcing they're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. To the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time.
Look, the drugs are going off on him. He's
And
slowing
I say
down.
Yeah,
this,
100%.
as a lifelong supporter of Israel, my entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here. I'm the only American president to visit Israel in wartime, but there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. There's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel. For years, I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America is falling behind. They've got it backwards. I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down.
LGBT's
over
up.
a decade. And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices. We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific. India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that. I want competition with China, not conflict. And we're in a stronger position to win the conflict of the 21st century against China than anyone else, for that matter, than any time as well. Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills. There's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online.
Huh?
Harness.
He's talking about
harness the
Mark
promise of
Zuckerberg
AI
and
to protect
Facebook,
us from
Meta.
peril. ban AI voice impersonations and more.
Ooh, ban
Keep
AI.
our
That's a
truly
bad
sacred
one.
obligation.
I think he
Train
wants to
and
ban
equip
like TikTok too,
those
but
we
he's
send
on
on
it
the hard
constantly.
way.
I know.
Care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't. That's why the song Support and Help of Dennis and VA, I signed the PACT Act. One of the most significant laws ever, helping millions of veterans exposed to toxins who now are battling more than 100 different cancers. Many of them don't come home, but we owe them and their families support. We owe it to ourselves to keep supporting our new health research agency called ARPA-H, and remind us that we can do big things like end cancer as we know it, and we will.
End cancer. There you go.
Maybe they could call him.
He's got the cure for cancer, apparently.
Let me close with this.
Yay! Yeah.
I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things. I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
Yeah, that's true.
When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever.
Queer than
I know
ever.
the American story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation. Between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor.
Yeah.
Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II.
He was
when
born in
America
World War
stood
II.
for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service.
Oh, man.
I left the law firm
Dude,
and became a
what?
public defender because
Hey, yo,
my
what
city,
the
Wilmington, is the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29. Then vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president.
He's no black, he's Indian.
In my career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. It's not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old.
Yeah, no shit.
Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal, deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy.
Yeah, pretty much.
My fellow Americans, the issue facing our nation isn't how old we are, it's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas. It'll only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done. Tonight you've heard mine. I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away. I see a future where the middle class finally has a fair shot and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis
Oh
and
my!
our country from gun violence.
Well, Democrat.
Above all, I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans. And I will always
That's
be
the truth.
president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I think they're clapping because it's over.
Yeah.
I never met her.
Make that
I have
happen.
no
Oh shit, not good.
Think he's gonna find his way off? Okay, he's walking this way. I'm curious to see. I mean, it's gonna go over well on all your liberal Mockingbird media. They're gonna say he was awesome. But yeah, I felt like he had a lot of parts where he's incoherent and he just wants more money for everything. He didn't really want to say he wanted to fix the border. So it's crazy.
I didn't embarrass you. Yo, yeah. Hopefully we'll get some good sound bites as he's walking out.
Yeah.
Baptist preacher tonight.
I'll tell you what.
You were the Baptist preacher tonight.
I'll tell you what Jim Eason once said to me. So what did old Jim Eason do for you, Delaware?
What?
I said, Mr. Chairman, someplace you'd help and someplace you'd hurt. He looked at me and said, I'll come and campaign for you again. You said,
Come on now.
Yeah, he's not as good without the teleprompter. Go ahead, buddy.
A lot of shucking and jiving going on. I'm talking to Bernie.
Oh, Bernie got his mask off.
Yeah, why has he got his mask off now? Oh my.
Coronavirus ain't a big deal right now around Biden.
Sermon tonight. That's Jamal Bowman, right? You better watch out. He might pull the fire alarm.
There's no T in Spanish.
I can't believe these are the morons that run this country into the ground. That guy wearing a Ukraine flag around his neck? It's crazy.
You're saying something about it, like if they pull away from Ukraine, then it's just going to get worse. Like Russia's going to take Ukraine and they're going to start working their way through Europe. I don't think that's true. I think if they stop funding the war, it's going to stop.
It would stop instantly. Putin just wants them to leave. He just doesn't want no missiles on his border. You know what I'm saying? That's what he told them. He's like, Ukraine's not coming over to NATO. We're not going to have none of that. And we want to make sure that we're safe. That's all he's trying to do. So
everyone who's listening to this, we have 152 people watching. Let's hear your comments of this one. We're going to bring Tucker Carlson in here in just a minute. Oh, Chuck's going to go live. And we've been talking about Donald Trump. One of the things Donald Trump said I thought was interesting. He said he wants to take away everyone's guns. Remember that when you go to the voting booth, because if I'm not elected, your guns are gone along with your freedom. That's what Trump said on Truth.
I think that's
Truth was having like it was, I don't know, there's so many people in Truth or whatever, but it was like buffering trying to get on there. On the
Truth's
web.
huge, I guess. I need to start posting more on there because I mean, Donald Trump's about to make like $4 billion off that merger off Truth.
Yeah, I know. I seen that because they were like that was another thing too. When people say, you know, Trump, he cannot run for president because he's broke and it's a finance. It's like anyone who thinks that Trump is broke is also broke. I mean, how the hell could Trump be broke? One of his properties is worth that. His house, I mean, it's worth that.
Mar-a-Lago's only worth $18 million, bro. You know that.
Did you
it's
see
coast to coast on Florida Palm Beach area, bro? I don't
did
understand.
You see, I forget what show it was, but they were showing if you just go onto like the real estate app and you just price it like what's going on with Palm Beach, and you look at something, it was like 5 acres with nothing on it was like $90 million.
Yeah,
and it was like it has to be at least $500 million based on what he has.
He just had a thing to do today too with the you remember Christopher Steele, the Steele dossier where they had all that fake Russia thing.
Oh yeah.
He's got to pay Christopher Steele's company or something money, and it's like it was a fake dossier. It was all fake information from the CIA and Hillary Clinton's campaign. So I mean, you can see it's just a witch hunt for him, and a lot of people waking up. The black vote supposedly now he's up to like 20%. Hopefully, it's like a Reagan-esque landslide or something. I don't know, but I think they're going to try to cheat. What are you going to do when they say Biden wins on November 5th? What are we going to do?
I don't know. I think what's going to end up happening. I think it's going to be I think we're going to be rioting or something. Well, give me 1 second. Let me bring in Tuck.
Because they want it too big to rig, but I don't know. They're going to find a way. The voting machines got algorithms where they can just switch votes.
Check out Tuck talking about the border.
At least 7.2 million. That's the official number have entered since Joe Biden became president. So what do we do with these people? Do we deport them? No, not according to the U.S. Congress.
There is no higher honor than serving your country in uniform.
And that honor could be extended to migrants under a new bill introduced by Hudson Valley Congressman Pat Ryan. Called the Courage to Serve Act, this bill would offer qualified and vetted migrants an expedited path to citizenship if they serve in the military.
How did Rome fall? Historians have been debating that question, well, moving on 2,000 years now. But everyone agrees one of the reasons is pretty obvious. The Roman military, its legions, became dominated by non-citizens who, in the end, because they weren't loyal to Rome, turned against Rome's citizens. So knowing that as we do, consider this series of facts. This country has been flooded with tens of millions of illegal aliens. At least 7.2 million. That's the official number have entered since Joe Biden became president. So what do we do with these people? Do we deport them? No, not according to the U.S. Congress.
There is no higher honor than serving your country in uniform.
And that honor could be extended to migrants under a new bill introduced by Hudson Valley Congressman Pat Ryan. Called the Courage to Serve Act, this bill would offer qualified and vetted migrants an expedited path to citizenship if they serve in the military.
How did Rome fall? Historians have been debating that question, well, moving on 2,000 years now. But everyone agrees one of the reasons is pretty obvious. The Roman military, its legions, became dominated by non-citizens who, in the end, because they weren't loyal to Rome, turned against Rome's citizens. So knowing that as we do, consider this series of facts. This country has been flooded with tens of millions of illegal aliens. At least 7.2 million. That's the official number have entered since Joe Biden became president. So what do we do with these people? Do we deport them? No, not according to the U.S. Congress.
There is no higher
Tucker's
honor
tearing it up
than
too
serving
live
your
right now.
country
He's
in
got
uniform.
685,000 just on Twitter.
To migrants under a new bill introduced by Hudson Valley Congressman Pat Ryan. Called the Courage to Serve Act, this bill would offer qualified and vetted migrants an expedited path to citizenship.
Isn't this right here?
In the military.
How did Rome fall? Historians have been debating that question, well, moving on 2,000 years now.
This is
but
it
everyone
right here,
agrees one of the reasons is pretty obvious. The Roman military, its legions, became dominated by non-citizens who, in the end, because they weren't loyal to Rome, turned against Rome's citizens. So knowing that as we do, consider this series of facts. This country has been flooded with tens of millions of illegal aliens. At least 7.2 million. That's the official number have entered since Joe Biden became president. So what do we do with these people? Do we deport them? No, not according to the U.S. Congress.
There
No,
is
that's not
no
him.
higher honor
Is that
than
something
serving
else?
your country and your
Oh, wait.
And that on
Sorry, I
live.
was.
Dang.
Yeah. He's live. Excuse me for 1 second. Apologize about that, everyone. I'm gonna pump this on real quick, like right here. But yeah, I mean, I think, we have these armies of people right now is what's going on, that are going to these blue cities. And if you have like 10,000 of them there, you see them all armed and everything. If you magnify that times 5 and then you try to go deport them, it ain't going to happen, bro.
And a lot of them are going to become criminals. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be able to get them out of here, and which is fine. Start getting the criminals out of here, because you would have had a lot of American citizens not dead. Just in Washington the other day, or a couple of days ago, that illegal immigrant smashed his car right into a cop and killed the cop out there.
I know. I seen that.
I mean, get them all out of here. I mean, Venezuela, I guess, is just their crime rate is down because they're opening up their jails. Trump was right. They're just opening up their jails and sending them over here. So it's going to be wild. It's going to be I mean, we got 8 months till November. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to start popping off. You know what I mean? It's just going to be real wild. I don't know if Joe Biden and Trump are going to debate each other, because he's going to be like, Trump just lies all the time. You see the media covers for Joe Biden. So it's just going to be a crazy 8 months. Hopefully these migrants aren't here doing like sleeper cell stuff. I don't know what's going to turn up. Well,
the National Guard is definitely in the subways of New York. I did see that.
Yeah, and that's crazy too. And they're like, oh, that's a good thing. Remember when Trump wanted the National Guard? Oh, no, that's horrible. That's
here's Tucker right. Here's Tucker right here.
Crazy talk.
Yeah.
There's no explanation of what the goal is here. There's
He
lie
just showed
after
a couple
lie.
highlights
Ukraine
of what we
can
just
stop
watched,
Russia.
and here's
No,
his
man.
response.
This has gone on for over 2 years. NATO is stronger than ever. No, it's not. NATO is on its way to collapse, as is the economy of Western Europe. For not one sentence did Joe Biden explain what the goal of this exercise is, when we'll know we've won, and what the future should look like. Again, it was crazy talk.
Yeah, it was.
And yet, Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, nodded gravely. Oh, of course, he is completely on board with Joe Biden on this Biden's signature issue. And that's not a guess. As of this afternoon, Mike Johnson is secretly supporting Biden's agenda, sending another $60 billion to the oligarchs in Ukraine. Johnson plans to let Democrats onto the floor of the House to vote for this. This is a stealthy procedural move designed to shield him and other Republicans from criticism. Oh, the Democrats did it. But that's exactly what it is. He's the Speaker of the House. He could stop it, but he won't, because he's on board.
He's a snake.
So why is he on board? Is Mike Johnson representing his own voters?
And Tucker's letting him have it.
Signature.
Tucker's real, baby. He's like the rock and roll rebel
war
show.
Against Russia? No, he's not. Republican voters in Louisiana are not for this. Republican voters nationally are not for this. They hate this. It has nothing to do with them. And it's insulting. As their country is invaded, we send billions to prevent the invasion of another country that we have nothing to do with? But the Uniparty demands this, so Mike Johnson is doing it. And so at some point you ask, well, why are they demanding this, actually? Why is war with Russia the most important thing? If you look at the numbers or a map, it wouldn't be obvious that Russia would be America's main enemy. There are other candidates. Could it be because
Iran,
Russia is the
China.
largest white Christian country in the world? Maybe. Could it be because they're getting rich from war? Well, that's certainly true. And there may be other reasons as well. We could guess. But we don't need to, because we know that it's happening, and we know that war against Russia is not the only war we're going to be engaged in, and not the only one that Biden announced tonight. Biden also told the country that we're going to have boots on the ground in Gaza. Really? Or admitted it, in fact. American forces have actually been there for months. Did you know that? Did anyone ask you? Has anyone explained to you, no matter where your sympathies lie, what the point of this is, when we'll know we've won? What's the objective here? American lives will be at risk. But of course, no one's told you. And of course, you already know the point. The point is to suck the United States into another foreign war that can't possibly help the United States, a war that can only hurt us and already is hurting us. And we're doing this not because it helps us, but because foreign interests are demanding that we do it. America is being used, as we so often have been. And the result of all of this is that the world is now closer to nuclear war at this moment than at any time in history, closer than it was during the Cuban Missile Crisis. We have no idea where this is going. You never do once people start to die, once wars begin. No PowerPoint can tell you, no speech to a joint session can tell you where this is going. It's dynamic. It's completely unpredictable. And that's why wise people pause before accelerating. But there are no wise people in charge in either party, on either side. Do you think Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, has any clue what will happen in a war with Russia? Of course not. You can't say where this is going. This is so reckless that it qualifies as suicidal. And maybe they are, but the rest of us aren't. But the most interesting fact of the speech was the emphasis. There was not a meaningful word for the entire duration about the things that actually matter to people who live here, like crime or inflation or fentanyl or the foreign army now occupying our country. Joe Biden doesn't care. There was no upside for you in any of the
I think
things.
Tucker's going to crash Twitter,
have a
bro.
present
It's acting funny.
He's got something to give
think
you,
so?
something you want. For
Yeah, I
example.
mean, you got a good one
Here it
right
is.
now, but I tried to click it up on mine.
It's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following.
Because he's
With
got
all
like
due
1 million
respect,
views on his live
justices,
stream.
Women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about.
Yeah, he was annoying, bro.
Clearly. Clearly. Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
Oh, well, you
Trump
can't
just
have a
said he didn't say it
safe,
to
clean
Putin. He gave
country,
Putin Ukraine.
or groceries you can afford, or schools that will educate your children, but you can't have abortion. You can have a lot more abortion. How's about some more abortion for you? That'll make you happy and free. You can have all the abortions you want. But of course, you already could have all the abortions you want. Abortion is one thing, maybe the one thing that's pretty easy to get in this country. Compare getting an abortion to getting an affordable new roof or a knee replacement. No, abortion is everywhere. It's very easy to get. And it's easy to get because the government wants it to be, of course, unlike an affordable new roof. But what's interesting is why, of all the services government could guarantee, why abortion at a time when fertility rates of actual Americans are below replacement? Biden and his party are encouraging Americans to have fewer children. Now, if you have a handheld calculator, do the math on that. That's the path to extinction. Why would they want that? You're the leader of a country. Why would you want your people to have fewer children? You should ponder
We got
that.
migrants, baby.
But
We
let's
got
say you're
migrants.
too old to have an abortion. Let's say it doesn't actually apply to you, this wonderful freedom that will make you happy. What can you do to guarantee that you will have no descendants? Well, you can always castrate your children and end your lineage. No more grandchildren. And Joe Biden wants to help.
I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. My message to transgender Americans, I have your back.
Oh, trans children, I have your back. That's not creepy. But that's what he's offering. Abortion, war, castration of children, not better roads and schools, cheaper electricity and food. No, abortion and war. Who wants all that? I mean, some tiny percentage of CNN contributors think those are the most important things, but most people would rather have cheaper electricity, cheaper food, better roads. And so what this means is that underneath all of the talk is a dire political reality. Joe Biden can't win. In a fair election, Joe Biden will lose in
100%.
November. He cannot win. That's the thing that nobody in any media wants to say out loud. In a fair election, Joe Biden cannot win. So they're saying the opposite. Here, for example, is the pregame analysis over at MSNBC, which we watched while waiting for Biden to dodder up to the stage, waiting for the amphetamines to take effect. And keep in mind, as you watch this analysis, These are supposedly the smart kids. These are
The
smart kids, the
amphetamines
ones
to
with
take
complicated
effect.
Glasses. These are the ones the White House looks to for guidance. And here's their analysis of Joe Biden's skills. Watch this.
This seems like a weirdly counterintuitive hot take, even though it's the most obvious thing you could say, which is that Joe Biden is good at politics.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Like Joe Biden is good at politics. He's very good at politics. Like the man
wrote
really
the
does know
problem
what
up.
he's doing, and you really see it in those sort of situations.
Joe Biden is just really good at politics. It's the one thing he's really good at. Really? If Joe Biden is so good at politics, why is he losing to Donald Trump, who the rest of us were assured was a retarded racist, who no normal person would vote for? But now Joe Biden is getting stomped by Donald Trump, but he's also at the same time good at politics? Right. Chris Hayes, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree.
Most
Grateful to
famous
the Woods.
lesbian
I
on
agree.
television.
100.
So again, they can't win, but they're not giving up. So what does that tell you? Well, they're going to steal the election.
Yep.
And we know they're going to
Telling
steal
you.
the election because they're now saying so out loud. Here is the Attorney General of the United States, the chief law enforcement officer of this country in Selma, Alabama, just the other day. Listen to this.
The right to vote is still under attack. And that is why the Justice Department is fighting back. That is why one of the first things I did when I came into office was to double the size of the voting section of the Civil Rights Division. That is why we are challenging efforts by states and jurisdictions to implement discriminatory, burdensome, and unnecessary restrictions on access to the ballot, including those related to mail-in voting, the use of drop boxes, and voter ID requirements. That is why we are working to block the adoption of discriminatory redistricting plans that dilute the vote of Black voters and other voters of color.
Did you catch that? Of course, you're a racist. That's always the takeaway. But consider the details of what the Attorney General of the United States just said. Mail-in balloting, drop boxes, voter ID requirements. The chief law enforcement officer of the United States government is telling you that it's immoral, in fact, racist, in fact, illegal to ask people for their IDs when they vote to verify they are who they say they are.
And everybody has an ID.
What is that?
Too.
I know, right?
Well, no one ever talks about
Hotels, you
this.
need ID,
The
anything.
justification for it is that somehow people of color, Black people, don't have state-issued IDs. Somehow they're living in a country where you can do virtually nothing without proving your identity with a government-issued ID without government-issued IDs. So they can't fly on planes, they can't have checking accounts, they can't have any interaction with the government, state, local, or federal. They can't stay in hotels. They can't have credit cards because someone without a state-issued ID can't do any of those things. But what's so interesting is these same people, very much including the Attorney General and the administration he serves, is working to eliminate cash, to make this a cashless society. Have you been to a stadium event recently? No cash accepted. You have to have a credit card. And in order to get a credit card, you need a state-issued ID. And somehow that's not racist, but it is racist to ask people to prove their identity when they choose the next president of the United States. So that doesn't make any sense at all.
That's a good
That's
point.
a lie.
That's a good point.
It's an easily provable lie. And anyone telling that lie is advocating for mass voter fraud, which the Attorney General is.
Yeah, it's going
There's
to be a while.
no other way to read it. So you should know that. You live in a country where the Attorney General is abetting, in fact, calling for voter fraud. And that's the only chance they have to get their guy reelected. Well, for a cooler, more measured take, we suspect, on what we just saw, we are grateful to go to Victor Davis Hanson, who's a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution, and he joins us now. Professor, thank you very much for coming on. I want to start right at the outset, and I saved this sound for your analysis because I think it'll be smarter than mine, of the signature moment of the night, which was Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia confronting Joe Biden as he spoke. And here's what happened next.
I'd be a winner. Not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand.
He did say it.
So what did you make of
Illegal,
that?
yeah. He even
What does
said
that
it,
mean, do
illegal
you think?
killed Americans.
Well, I've never seen in general an angrier speech. I mean, I
Yes.
think the left's happy because he didn't stumble, but he only is incoherent when he's full of venom and he's angry. Get off my.
Yes.
This was Phantom of the Opera #2, and I've never seen a president interact and yell at the opposition. And you know, Tucker, he attacked the Supreme Court, and he was having a dialogue, an invective against the Supreme Court justices in the chamber, and so he's a very angry guy, and you were absolutely right. He's a demagogue. And then it was lie under lie. I couldn't believe when he talked about the deficit and the debt. He's on schedule, if he were to be reelected, to run up $15 trillion. We're borrowing, I should say, or printing $1 trillion every 100 days under him. We've never seen anything like it. $7 trillion, and yet he says he's lowered the debt or deficit. Same thing about the border. I mean, that was I know that Mitch McConnell made a fatal blunder by even negotiating with these guys, and that was the whole purpose of the Democratic negotiation, was the speech where they could say, well, they didn't sign on, but there's no need for laws. There's no need for more money. All Joe Biden had to do was just keep the policies in place. He had 100 executive orders to overturn everything. He let in almost 10 million people by design. He wanted to change the demographic. He wanted voters under, mail-in and early voting protocols. And yet to stand there and just say that he's for the border closing was just a complete lie. I think it got people. I don't think it's going to go over. I think it was a mean old man saying, "Get off my grass."
That's what I got from
I'm going
it.
to give you free stuff and print more money, and then tell you that it's
more
the
money,
rich that
more
are
money.
the problem. I think the nadir, though, Tucker, was not just the Marjorie Taylor Greene exchange, but when he said that he's getting tired of people not paying their income taxes when his son is now facing several felony counts for tax avoidance, and he's got a lot of cash that he's never reported.
Hit
And
that
as
one,
soon as he's
Rebel.
out of office, if there's any justice in the world, he'll face the same exposure as Hunter. So I know that the left will say, well, he didn't stumble, and he was vigorous, and he was muscular, but it was a muscularity and a vigor that was frightening, because it was exactly like he did in that other speech about the semi-fascist and ultra-MAGA.
Yes.
And the idea that buffoonish display in the rotunda for a few minutes was a insurrection and is the greatest threat to America since the Civil War. I think he forgot December 7th and World War II and World War I. But my God, he lives in an alternate universe. And
Well, may
I think it's a good
may I ask you a
preview of what
question about human nature?
Yeah.
He didn't write this speech. His staff wrote it. They're not stupid, and they told easily provable lies. Not just a few, as politicians invariably do, but big ones. The Republicans are responsible for the spending and the border, et cetera, et cetera. Why do they do that? Does that work? If you repeat a lie often enough, does it become real? Like, what's the thinking there, do you think?
Tucker has 1.3 million views
I
right
think
now.
they think that
He's blowing up, bro.
lying on the border and lying on the budget,
And that's just on X.
and lying
It's on
about
YouTube,
abortion and lying about all these things will be resonated because they have confidence in the media. They feel they control social media, traditional media, new media, entertainment, and this will just reverberate and as what you see every night on network news or MSNBC. But I don't think it's going to work because people have heard it before, and they look at the reality that the staples that make life possible, fuel and food and shelter, have gone up 30%, and he doesn't care. And when they look at the border, it's 8 to 10 million people who are swarming into the United States, and he doesn't care. And when you look at abroad, he kept talking about Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. You want to think, okay.
I think Tucker was kicked off of YouTube.
When did Putin go in? He didn't go in during Donald Trump, but he went in during Bush, and he went in Obama, and he went in yours. And you talk really tough on Ukraine, but you were the one that fled in disgrace from Afghanistan. You told the country you wouldn't react if it was a minor invasion of Ukraine. You talk
remember
about giving
YouTube,
them aid.
they were kicking off like Bongino and everyone for the things he got fired from Fox 4.
When Donald Trump was
I
there.
think that's why he's
So
like
the
he's going on
world fell
X.
apart when he came on the scene. He knows that. I think they're going to be desperate. I think you're absolutely right about what the contours of the next election are going to be. It's going to be Donald Trump is January 6th, beat that dead horse. It's going to be abortion. It's going to be Donald Trump lawfare. And then it's going to be confidence in 70% of the electorate not voting in person on election day. And that's all they have. Every single issue, people are sick of him. And but I do have some confidence. I'm a little bit more optimistic when you look at that face.
Cut him off, Tucker. Cut him off.
Reptilian grin and an anger, and he screams for emphasis. He doesn't change his intonation or use his hands or try to smile. It's just very angry and
did have a lot of anger.
People, in fact, in covering my comments,
the veneer of self-control of an earlier Joe Biden is gone now.
No.
It's the real
He's just
Joe
making
Biden
comments.
coming out. We've seen it before, and it's kind of frightening. I've never seen an angrier speech, State of the Union, than that. Never.
I don't think there's ever been one. If last question, if you were going to guess what happens as this unfolds, because there's no better big picture assessor than you, is Biden going to make it to November? Is there any chance he wins? I mean, what would you guess if you had to in March? Now, what happens?
I think I think tonight is what we saw with the first debate with Donald Trump. I think he was late tonight. I think they just have a 2-day week. They rest him, and then for these
dope him up.
iconic
2-day week,
occasion, he looks angry, and they consider that normal. But campaigning, he's not going to be able to campaign. And I think that what we saw after the Robert Hur report, that crazy press conference, is going to be often, and I think they're going to intercede in the August convention and make the super delegates decisive, or open all the delegates up and see if they can get him off the ticket. Maybe tonight they don't think that, but they'll have a different view next week, the week after, and the week after. Especially, I don't think this is going to help his polls at all. I think people are tired of the anger and the screaming and the whole tempo. But I'm very worried that if Donald Trump has to campaign in 50 states, and whether we like it or not, he's going to have to unite the party. And I think he can, but they don't have any margin of error. He's going to have to be the first Republican president to get 51% of the vote since 1988. And they've lost 7 out of the last 8 popular presidential popular votes. So, and they don't have a good record, the Orthodox Republican establishment. So Trump's going to have to reach to every community. He's going to have to campaign, and it's going to have to bring people together. And he has no margin of error because they control the balloting in these swing states. And so it's going to be
talking about election interference right now, right?
Nastiest, loudest election in our lifetime. And I'm really worried about it. But I have confidence in the American people. And I think what they saw tonight was an old man raging and ranting and barking at the moon.
There's been I would say an unprecedented crackdown on civil liberties during the Biden administration. If Trump loses, does that abate or does it accelerate? Do more people go to jail if Biden wins or loses?
Oh, 100%.
Well, if Biden wins, I think we're in trouble, because we've seen what Merrick Garland did when they were afraid of being
do what?
Whether they would be reelected or not. If he's reelected and he has 4 years, there's no bridles. And if he should win, he'd probably win the House. If Donald Trump wins, the thing about Donald Trump is everybody says he's out for revenge and everything, but you look at the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, the IRS under his control, they weren't vindictive. They didn't go after their political enemies. No. He may talk tough, but he's not a vindictive person. And I think he has moments after the Iowa primary, and when he talks about getting even by being successful, that he's got it in him to unite the country. Biden doesn't. And I think Trump could. And I hope that he campaigns in the inner city. I hope he campaigns in places like where I live in the Central Valley. There's people that want a reason to vote for him. They're sick of Biden, and they feel that he did a good job. And all he has to do is appeal to that. And I hope he does.
I hope so too. Victor Davis Hanson, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. So we are honored to invite into the studio for the first time to respond live, Alex Jones, who has
Oh,
different
wow. Alex
holistic
Jones,
views.
let's do it.
Great Alex Jones, who needs
Wow.
no introduction.
This is fire, man.
I can do as good as you, but I'm blessed to be here. Great crew, great people, great to be here with you.
So what? I mean, just give me your big picture assessment of that.
I gotta say, because we didn't even meet before we went on air. I was downstairs writing notes, and you basically said everything I was going to say, and so did the doctor. But you asked him a question out of the gates. You said, "Why do they lie so much? They think we're dumb, or what's going on?"
Yeah,
they want to tell so many lies that you don't have time to counter them all. Because it would take 5 hours to counter all that. I mean,
I gave up in my note taking.
Yeah, everything was a lie. And I mean, the biggest one was like, yeah, this woman got killed by a illegal alien. We're trying to stop that. I want to shut down the border. He said, when I win, immediately surge the border. And then they had the big NGOs, the State Department that funds the UN NGOs, have all the illegals come up here. They have UN camps in South America and Central America and in Mexico. And he's running it all. He says, come here. They show up by the thousands in Biden shirts. So he's like, I'm so sad the illegal aliens are killing you. And many of them are convicted felons, a large portion. And then he's acting dumb and saying, oh, no, I'm really sad. Illegal aliens are raping and murdering citizens. So just that little window there, he's playing the good cop to his own globalist policies. Everything that the State Department, the Victoria Nuland's want. And you're absolutely right. First, he comes out and says, Trump is Hitler. And then he moves on to Ukraine. So it's not about the dying cities, it's not about the fentanyl and the needles, the illegal aliens everywhere and the homeless everywhere. It's all about
Infowars.com.
That's their big model to distract us and also launder money. So this is a very, very dangerous moment for America. And your last guest was dead on. He and the whole establishment is so emblematic of a rotting, collapsing facade that knows the people have turned against it. And it's just pure rage. All the fakeness, all of the pop and circumstance has been stripped away. And now there's just this seething, ancient dinosaur. In fact, I was watching, earlier during the State of the Union and then sitting here watching earlier, I was thinking, how do I start this? I want to say, it's like we're in a time machine looking back on the age of the dinosaurs, the Paleolithic or something, or something. I mean, we're looking back because time is compressed now. So we're here looking at a dying, corrupt, dead political empire that hates America and is trying to use our power to take over the world. And it's already gone. The world's turning against it. The Great Awakening's here. All the numbers show it. And they're trying to hang on. And so we're looking back at Jurassic Park. We're looking back at the dinosaurs. But instead, the dinosaurs are trying to claw us back into hell. I mean, take World War II. Operation Valkyrie was the German general staff, who were Nazis and bad guys, but they were like, we're going to lose the Russians. We're going to lose the Americans. We're going to lose the Allies. A year and a half before the war ended, let's kill Hitler. But they failed. It's the same thing. The globalist program has failed, but they're thinking, well, if we just enslave people and arrest people and do all this, they'll shut up and go away. The New World Order has already failed. The question is, when Hitler knew he was going to lose, he wrote and said, if the Germans failed on the Eastern Front with the Russians, all the Germans deserve to die. They failed and they're weak. And so he flooded the German subways. He let the whole Russian army come in. 25 million Germans died. 26 million Russians died. Most of World War II was the Russians, the Nazis killing each other. And so it's kind of that same thing. The left saying, if we're going down, we're taking you all with us. And then we have Klaus Schwab saying, you will eat bugs. We have Tyson Foods saying, we're moving in with crickets as the main batter for your chicken and everything else. I mean, they're really, Yuval Noah Harari was on late night comedy just last night. And he's like, yeah, the age of humans is over. And then the talk show host agreed, yeah, we need computers to decide everything, programmed by the globalists. So all they're offering is more of the same. And if we just fully reject them, which is happening, they will fall away. But they're trying to claw us down to hell with them.
It does almost seem like, flirting with nuclear war, which they are doing on multiple fronts with no plan whatsoever at all. We're going to finish the job. They never explained what the job was. That's suicidal. I mean, it's not right. It's not going to help them.
It's psychotic.
It is psychotic. So it does feel like the leaders of the society are trying to destroy the society.
And again, I go back to Hitler, who in his own writings, this is not in my opinion, he's like, the Germans deserve to die, so we're just going to stand here at Berlin. And they're like, sir, the Russians have entered the subways, flooded. They go, sir, we've got 1 million Germans, families, children in the subways. He said they deserve to die. So the left is not giving up because they're disconnected from reality. Unlike German soldiers who were fighting for equal force, but they were at least fighting. The left live in high-rise apartments.
Yep.
They're disconnected from reality. And to them, it's all like a video game. And they don't realize, as you were just saying, Macron 3 weeks ago, yeah, we're going to have a national draft. We may have to send troops in to fight the Russians directly. The British Ministry of Defense, the Swedish Ministry of Defense, NATO officially. Yeah. And you've got Sean Penn saying, you know, we shouldn't have nuclear war off the table. It's survivable. What does he know about nuclear war? And so you can see it. It is
Sean Penn said nuclear war is survivable.
If you look it up, he's like, the quote's basically, a lot of people say we shouldn't use nuclear weapons in Ukraine or against the Russians. Well, we shouldn't take that off the table. And so that's the mindset of these people. To them, it's like a video game. And they know they're losing their power. They have this relish of control. Hollywood's collapsed. Mainstream media's collapsed. I mean, CNN's top show, 100,000 viewers. I was down there in your studio entrance watching this during before we went live, and I was writing notes, and I was like, I haven't watched this in years. And again, I was like studying. I was like an anthropologist, like studying some ancient tribe that died. And watching them all, well, he's old, but he's really smart and he's great. And they would all like these talking points regurgitating them.
You're going to
I
break
was like,
Twitter, bro.
but I get it.
Yeah,
Because unlike an ancient tribe that died 10,000 years ago, they're still in control of nuclear weapons, so we need to study them.
So nicely put. If the hallmark of evil is deception, I think we can say that we're looking at evil. I mean, if the basis of your entire program is a lie, it's not just spinning it a little bit, it's a lie. It's like it's the inversion of the truth.
And they know it's a lie.
Then, I mean, isn't that evil? What's the other definition?
Well, that's really it. We have to realize evil is lying, like in your own life. As I get older, I lied when I was a kid. I lied some when I was an adult. As I get older, lies have consequences. My whole life is now about not ever telling.
Keep up with the
lies.
lies.
Catching myself, being honest. My wife's like, "You look at that girl? Yeah, I am. Sorry." Instead of like, "Oh no, I'm not," because your mind gets trained to be accurate when you stop lying.
Hey, yo, what the
Instead,
fuck?
when you lie, it's a disease, and then it takes you over. And these people are literally cancer, and they can find all this fodder and all these mercenaries that'll read their talking points. But as negative as it is, Tucker, you know this, 3-4% have taken the new booster shots. And when they rolled the first shot, it was like 70%. People are rejecting it. But there's the converse of that. The dying establishment, like when a woman tries to leave a man that's beating her, they're going to try to break our jaw in the parking lot. We're trying to get in the car. They're trying to keep us from escaping. And so we're at that point. We're trying to get the station wagon with the kids. We're trying to pile them in. And, the drunk mean, is right there punching us in the face. But at the end, we're getting out of Dodge. We're leaving Egypt. We're going on to the promised land here. And it's going to take, that archetype of the promised land. It's going to take
Tucker's like, what
40 years or whatever out in the wilderness, but at least we're not going to be slaves anymore. So we're in that process of emancipation right now. They're pissed. They're freaking out because they want control. Any fulfilled person is out fishing or hunting or hanging with family like you and I are. There's a beautiful sunset. We're having a great dinner, playing with our dogs, our cats, our kids. These people are not fulfilled. They don't have that. If you study globalists, they are the most empty.
Look at Tucker's
Soros
face.
or Alexander Soros. I mean, they have nothing. So they're projecting their hatred, just like a Hitler or a Stalin or a Lenin, on us. We've got to realize they are mentally ill. They're sick. They're cancer. They're malfunctioning. We don't hate them. We just politically cut them out and separate them from the rest of society. And we're at that point right now of the surgery. America and the world's going under the knife, and let's hope and pray that it's successful surgery. Because if it's not, World War III.
It's just amazing that they tried to cancel you. And what you just said, even if, people don't agree with it ever, it's so much more interesting and smart than anything ever uttered on CNN or MSNBC. And I worked at those channels, so I know for a fact. So I just think,
well, they just want to be called out. You know that. You know better than I do. We're just real people. There's no teleprompters, other than like I have a few notes. You have a few notes of stuff you wrote yourself.
Andy, those are my notes.
No, but it's different when you write the teleprompter. Just like I have in my office, I have a teleprompter sometimes too. When I have time, I'll write what I want to say, my talking points. But it's your words. It's my words. Yeah. But it's CNN and Fox News and other places, they're loading it for you. The difference is we write our own notes here.
So what's the experience, not to get sidetracked, but it was so interesting what you said about your commitment to just telling the truth in your personal life and your professional life. What's the effect on you once you decide I'm going to really try not to lie at all ever?
Your brain is all our brains are a powerful electrochemical computer. And so so it's like AI, when they corrupt AI and give it some woke agenda, it doesn't work right. It messes up. You see the Gemini thing with Google, and then it messes the whole thing up. They wanted a little bit of erase the white people, not totally erase them. So it backfired. Now Google's down 70 billion in market cap, huge scandal, because it's so ridiculous. So from my own research and studying mainline literature and scientific research on it, but I've already experienced it. So I did the research. I went out and found that what I'd already experienced was real. When you tell your brain to lie or to not be honest, you're really lying to yourself. And then you start using all this brain capacity to figure out the lie and to then try to project things to cover up the lie. When you get into I'm at a neurotic level telling the truth. People, I go on the air, talk bad about myself and bad things I did. People say, why is he doing that? Because the more I do it, the more my brain cleans out. And now it's just laser focused. And now I know things much clearer. And so it's like removing computer viruses.
Sucker's face, man.
And so when you get to the point of just not lying, I mean, I used to tell lies every day. Leftists tell lies continually. The thing is, you go to the other extreme, all you do is tell lies. So when you start moving away from lies, you get to the point where, well, I told one lie this week and that was terrible, because it's robbing from you, not just people you're lying to. So I've gotten to the point of almost zero lying. And it's super empowering. And again, it's cleaning out your computer to where your brain can then operate, not worrying about telling lies. It can just say what's accurate.
That's amazing. I strongly sense that what you just said is the key to everything. To tell the truth, period, no matter what.
It is. And that means sometimes it's painful, because I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But at the end of the day, we just got to say this. We got to say it.
So back to the behavior, the impulses, the motives of the people running things. Obviously, they're incompetent. That's demonstrable. But they're also kind of monomaniacal. Like, they're very focused on certain hatreds. And just judging by what they say, their main hatred is for white people, who are the majority of the country. They talk about it constantly. They've set up a whole regime to punish white people on the basis of their skin color. You're not allowed to mention it. You're the racist. Okay, got it. But I don't think I've ever seen it on clearer display than in a now sort of famous MSNBC segment from last week. I hate to even play their garbage, but this is just so amazing. I have to play it for you.
Why are white rural voters a threat to democracy?
Oh,
at this
these two
point? You would
homos.
think, as we pointed out,
Yeah,
looking at Joe
I played
Biden's
this on the
background and
Rumble.
Donald Trump's, that the opposite would be true.
I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah.
lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose. to the
Suburban
country.
white
First
people
of
are the
all,
problem.
we show
Yeah.
30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this. So we provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism, and scientific skepticism, Obama birtherism. Third, anti-democratic sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely to say the president should be able to act unilaterally without any checks from Congress or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly white nationalist and white Christian nationalists. And fourth, they are most likely to excuse or justify violence.
So there's so many things that are interesting about what those two pigs are saying on television.
Two pigs are saying.
And the most interesting to me is that white rural voters are, of course, the weakest people in America.
When rural people, period, are the
rural people,
strongest.
period. That's exactly right, regardless of race. But that none of the supposed crimes that he mentioned, whether they're true or not, are crimes of action. They're all thought crimes. And so they're the most dangerous people in the country, not because they're killing others or embezzling money or
was the
getting rich through the
Republican
carried
rebuttal.
interest loophole or starting wars, pushing people in front of subway trains. They're the most dangerous because they have thoughts that those two pigs don't like. It's so interesting.
Well, this is the whole key. And of course, what you played, as I know you're a news analyst like I am, is just emblematic of all of it. That is the Carnegie Foundation. That's the CIA. That's the liberation theology at the universities. They know the world's 93% not white. So they think, well, we'll control these people who are exploiting by making all their ills about rural white people in America. But if you go to rural areas, I don't care if you're black, Hispanic, white, people are all basically populist. They're conservative. They know what's going on. They live on the land. They're not stupid.
But they haven't done anything to anybody. That's the remarkable.
They have the lowest
thing.
crime rate.
Well, yeah, like what's their crime? Well, their attitudes are bad. Like they will kill people for having the wrong attitudes. I mean, that's what they're saying.
And that's what it comes down to. If you remember in June of 2001, when Biden had just stolen the election, in my view, and gotten into power,
Stolen the election.
he put out the National Anti-Terrorism Perspective, National Directive, and he said white supremacism is the number one threat. Then he defined white supremacism as questioning lockdowns or open borders or forced shots. And so it's real simple. That MSNBC talking point from 10 years ago that all Republicans are racist, they're trying to codify it into law and then define racist as anyone that doesn't want to give up their cows or their farm or be a slave. So what they're threatened by is self-sufficient people, because it's a military takeover by the left and by the WHO. And we talked about this when I was on 3 or 4 months ago on your show out of Maine. They are literally understanding we've got the cities. We're about to take the dollar. We're collapsing the border. Who is the opposition? They're already lasing the target that it's the rural people. Remember I said next it's get the rurals. They're the enemy. And now that talking point is everywhere. I probably saw that clip 30 times the last week, 50 times the last month. And that's their next target, just like when Lenin and Trotsky and Stalin took over just Moscow and a few cities, took them 5 years to take over Russia. Who was the target? The farmers.
The kulaks.
Because they produce the food. And if you get them, now you've got everybody. So they're doing as you did a few weeks ago with that incredible lady, a Maoist/Stalinist Lenin playbook because it works. And so this is happening. This isn't a question. This is going down.
So what's the
beans and bullets?
I didn't agree with that, but the evidence suggests you're absolutely right. What is the purpose? No one has ever explained the purpose of admitting 10 million foreigners illegally into the country.
Like a free,
so we used
free
to hear
hand.
Commerce, the farm lobby would say we need the labor. No one's saying that now because we don't need the labor. And you hear people say, well, we're doing it because there's some reason we're doing it. I haven't heard one person, including Joe Biden tonight, explain why have they done this? What is the purpose?
Well, I love how you played Merrick Garland earlier, and he's like, there's all these racists. They're trying to keep people from voting. How many blue cities let illegals vote? In San Francisco, they put a foreigner, not even a citizen, on the board of elections in San Francisco.
Yeah, Chinese national.
Absolutely. So yeah, like a Chi-Com. So they're just normalizing this. And of course, you had Colonel McGregor on a few days ago, and he said literally they're bringing in the foreign army, but it won't happen overnight with UN blue helmets. It's just they're now your police. They've already purged the military. They bring them in. They'll follow orders. This is very simple. So Rome took 400 years of bringing in foreign troops to fall. They didn't do it on purpose. But the globalists look at 1984 as fiction, or they look at Rome and they go, which was historical, and they go, that is a blueprint. That is an owner's manual. That is a battle plan. So that's what the Great Reset is accelerating the collapse of Western civilization, because you don't want in around to compete with the globalist model of eat the bugs and enslavement and collapse. So they're actively seeing prosperity and Christian nationalist freedom. God forbid the rest of the world pick up Western culture. So you brand it as racist. You say it's bad because it's like kryptonite, to Superman or holy water and high noon to a vampire. If people say, I want my Second Amendment, I want my due process, I want my capitalism, well, then it's over for the BlackRocks and the Googles and the Facebook. So that's why they're fundamentally branding freedom as a white evil thing, because let's face it, Western civilization did develop from Greece on this incredible thing that could uplift humanity. So you discredit it by making it racial instead of selling it to the world and having everyone adopt it and creating unification, not through centralization or enslavement, but through adoption, because it works so well. And so the globalist tyrants are fundamentally threatened by Western Christian civilization. And that's why they're at war with it, which is why we should embrace it. And that's the great numbers of double the blacks voting for Trump, or triple the Hispanics, what we just saw 10 years ago. And that's why they're in full panic mode, trying to bring in totally uninformed foreigners from all over who they control and who they can run through NGOs, hoping that they'll be the savior. So as negative as all this is, I see this as the panic button being hit.
So what's the right response for normal people in a moment like this?
I think they have to promote your show, which is the number one show in the world. I mean, not just in news, but just in commentary. I mean, it is. You're up there, and Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson. I'm down below that. But I'm really pleased to see you reaching hundreds of millions of people every day. And really, that's not about Tucker Carlson, though it is about you. But that's secondary. It's about people resonating with that. Shows they have the instinct and the spirit for victory.
We win it, baby.
People love you, black, white, old, young. It doesn't matter. And promoting other shows. And then also not being intimidated by leftist bullying and standing up at school boards and county commissions and running for office and really being peaceful, but extremely aggressive about defending our rights and realizing we predicted, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, so many others, everything that's now come to pass. We're actually on the mark. We actually want a civilization. We want prosperity. I liken it to, I'm selling for free. I'm giving away ice cold water with lemon in it in the Sahara Desert. And the left's selling sand in the Sahara Desert. You know, I mean, this is insane. They're selling things that go against, you'll have nothing, you'll eat bugs, you'll drink sewage water, your families are horrible. You said earlier, we offer abortion and cutting your son's penis off. It's like, it's Hellraiser. And when you just sit back and go, wait, this can't be real. Klaus Schwab is promoting stuff that sounds like Hellraiser. Well, so was Hitler, so was Stalin. And when we realize that this is an evil manifestation that crops up in our species of bad people who want power. The problem is good people don't seek power because we want to be left alone, hang out with our families, go fish, go hunt, go to dinner, go play golf. I'm the same way. But I'm sorry, folks. Good people can't sit there and say, I'm too good for this, because we will be destroyed if we don't. And that's what evil fears. So the good men and women are now standing up, and we're super popular. Every popular talk shows, there's no one, even Bill Maher poses as a conservative now, and I hope he comes all the way over a populist. There's no one that's popular promoting the New World Order. So I'm saying, look at the positiveness of how humans desire, and like a man in the desert wants water, freedom.
Yes.
And all we're doing is promoting the natural programming that works. And so it's easy. We're the winners. We're the victors. We're not the cancer. We're following the program God gave us that is like oxygen. And we have to just declare the enemy cancer and just say, we're done. Shun them. Don't engage in violence. They want that. And just give them no support and then maximum back the truth, and we will win.
Amen.
As I listen to you talk, I'm like, why is Alex Jones getting canceled? Well, you haven't been canceled, thank God. But
well, they tried. I mean, they tried, but thanks to you, you were big. You were.
I mean,
listen, I'm not kissing your ass or anybody's ass, but Trump helped break the back of political correctness. But you helped break the back, the critical person in the censorship, and you were there boosting me on Fox when nobody else was, and you took us over the top. Because you recognize if they can get Alex Jones, they can get anybody. And so it's true, Tucker. It's us.
Well, I mean, for sure. I mean, I've defended a million people just on principle, but as I listened to you talk, I was like, well, where's the crazy stuff? This is really smart, actually. And I think I've always thought that. I mean, agree or disagree, it's not shallow at all. So I'm grateful for that. So you think that as things get more intense, which they will,
Tucker's at 1.8 million.
Desire,
yeah, baby,
absolutely. They can't win in a peaceful fight.
But you have said,
record on,
contrary to what they
X or Twitter
say about you, you've said no, remain peaceful. Period.
Absolutely. I mean, what they do is anytime you're watching corporate establishment enemy media, you'll see a 3-second clip. That's not, folks. You're being deceived when you see that. So I'll say, like, this is satire. It's the modest proposal by the famous Irish essayist and satirist Swift that if the world collapses, I'll eat my neighbors. This is a joke. But I go, collapse of the world leads to that. They go, look, he just said I'll eat my neighbors. They're deceiving. It's like that refrigerator game where you have all the little words and you can move the words around and see whatever you want.
Yes.
They basically take our words, move them around, and that's a deception. But when you look at what they're saying, conservatives and populists and Christians are going to kill people and they're going to murder people, and Trump is going to be a dictator and he's planning to, enslave everybody. But meanwhile, they're the ones taking him off the ballot. They're the ones indicting him. They're the ones saying, I mean, the Atlantic Monthly, that's the mouthpiece of Sauron, the mouth of Satan, came out 2 weeks ago and said, the headline was something like, even if Trump wins, we're just going to block him. Well, all Trump did was say, I want a 10-day investigation, which is constitutional. They said, they were honest. They said, even if he wins, we'll just decertify him. So they've basically indicted him in Georgia.
They're ready to
for
come
saying,
for him.
investigate. They're openly saying we're going to disqualify him, and then it's okay. So again, there's a murder of logic, and people see that, and they're saying, oh, Trump is going to engage in terror, and there's white supremacists everywhere. So I think you can do 2 + 2 = 4. We know false flags are real, provocateurs are real. We know they tried to stage the kidnapping of Governor Whitmer, and multiple trials. People got released. They finally got the 3rd trial, sent a few to prison, where you've got a bunch of marijuana. You've covered it detailed. A bunch of potheads, friendly little guys. They're homeless. And then they tell them, we'll give you $10,000 a month if you just meet with us and just say you'll kidnap Whitmer. So you're going to see a lot more of that. And we need to disavow that, because that doesn't fix it. We're winning the culture war. So they want to induce us into violence. And they've said they're introducing legislation, the Democratic Party in the House and Senate, to strip Trump of the Insurrection Act, which George Herbert Walker Bush used during the LA riots. And they're saying, oh, we know when he gets elected, if he does, there's going to be huge uprisings, and he's a white supremacist. So we've got to drive him from office that way. So they're planning to torch the country when he's president-elect, before he's in, and try to intimidate everyone. So Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all of this Hezbollah, Hamas protests. And again, I'm not for the war. I don't like how far Israel's gone, but they're invoking that and hyping that up now as their 3rd rail, or their 5th column, is the Islamicist, to then burn the country down within weeks of him being president-elect, and thinking they can terrorize the American people and the establishment into removing Trump somehow during that period. They've already pre-announced that. So I'm telling you now, 8 months out, that's their plan.
You mentioned The Atlantic, which is owned by a tech oligarch, Steve Jobs' widow, and almost everything bad in the country is financed by the richest people in the country, I've noticed, the oligarchs. And so all the money is kind of arrayed against the population of the country. That worries me. Can you throw off the yoke if the yoke has, hundreds of billions of dollars?
No.
I think we are, thanks to Elon Musk. I mean, you can say what you want about Elon Musk with all his past activities. He's trying to dominate every technological sector. But Christ said, judge a tree by its fruits.
Yes.
And the last 2 years, let's say it's a 360, like right here is New World Order, and right here is Total Patriot. Musk was already over here. He wasn't a bad guy, but he wasn't perfect. He's moved basically a 180.
Yeah.
So he has
like
Alec. I mean, look, you're the biggest guy in media. No, it's true. Let's go. It's not about bragging. It's true. You're the biggest mainline, talk show host. Well, I say mainline professional show. Okay, and there's a lot of people under you like me. Elon Musk is way bigger than both of us. He's reaching 100 million, 200 million people a day with stuff you would say, or I would say, he's devastating them. You don't do that if you're with him. So Elon Musk is definitely for real, because you can't argue with the results.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's just the way the universe works.
This is being powered by X right now, I should just say.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, and he's not censoring us.
No.
In fact, he's boosting us, probably. So the point is, by boosting, getting out of the way. So they've already lost the culture war. So you can just say Musk, maybe he's an opportunist. He sees the old systems going down. He's shifting over. That's if he's a bad guy. If he's a good guy, he really cares about us and is a humanitarian and a bleeding heart for freedom and has joined us. But you can't argue with what he's done. But back to the violence. They have nothing they can do now but violence. And so we are entering that wheelhouse. We are entering that zone where they're telling us we're violent. They're telling us we're evil. They're telling us we're white supremacists. We're not. And so it's obvious that is about to basically unfold. But I want to tell the establishment, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you'd stage a false flag or provocateur or something. It worked. It doesn't work on thinking people now, and it works on less people every day. So I would just advise the globalists give up.
So you're pretty famous, not famous enough for seeing events in some detail ahead of time. You're the only person, I think, in the world who called 9/11 in detail. You're on tape doing it. They're going to fly planes in the World Trade Centers and blame bin Laden. That's what you said. I played the tape. So given your demonstrated ability to get a pretty clear sight picture of the future, where do you think we are in 5 years?
we're either in heaven or hell. It's right now. We're going across the point of return, and we have maximum effort to expose the evil and be honest ourselves about the problems we have, and really try to empower people and reach out across political lines and really turn things around. We have unlimited potential. But I would have to say, if you look into the future, and it's not like into a crystal ball, it's just all the political lines, all the data.
It's getting wild.
A very, I wouldn't say a probability, but near probability nuclear war. And I have 4 children. I have nightmares about this because I know this is real.
I agree with you.
I don't say this for like fear porn. I mean, mainline analysts, the atomic
fear porn
scientist group.
Surprise, motherfucker!
The closest ever been, or like think like a minute to midnight. And so we have to turn this around because we are entering the system where we're entering the house of destruction, and we're so close. So the Chinese proverb of live in interesting times is both positive and negative. We're in very interesting times, the most interesting probably ever in human history. We have like godlike power, but we're actually decadent slobs, myself included. And so really it's all up to us right now. We are at that point of decision. And if we can get past the partisanship, but that doesn't mean then embrace the globalists and the corporate fascists. No, reject them. And as populists, Christians, conservatives, Hindus, Jews, Christians, Muslims, reject BlackRock, reject Klaus Schwab, reject Naval Noah Harari, who says the future is not human and we're obsolete and robots will run our lives in a decade. No, we humans are the only species that truly controls its environment. So he wants us to just decide we're animals and we're just receiving information. No, we're going to decide a pro-human future. We're going to decide to buy things from farms and factories where humans built it. We're going to decide to control our environment and not accept this big carbon tax system that's meant to make us accept the anti-human environment. So we have to decide our future now, our destiny now, with our actions and with our money and with our will, then push that and reject everything that Hollywood and the corporate media push. If you just, it's real simple. You can study it all day like I do and like Tucker does, and you can know all the nuances and fight it all day, which I want you to do because it's fascinating. Or you can just say, whatever Disney and whatever Viacom and whatever CNN tells me, I do the opposite. You'll do quite well doing that.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
I should say, not to be dark, but human beings, among other unique qualities, are also the only species that commit suicide.
You're right. Well, exactly. We have that paradox because we control our environment. What animal would think to commit
I thought
suicide?
there was a bridge where like dogs.
Lemmings run off a cliff on accident. Buffalo do it, but they don't do it on purpose. Very well said. Exactly. So we have that heaven and hell. We have that potential of the little g God. We have what science fiction writers like Jules Verne's 140 years ago wrote about, like rockets that take off, go to the moon, and come back and land again. Elon Musk has done it. Whatever we can envision, it's not like Oprah's Secret where it instantly happens, but with the potential of technology and society, and like Elon says, a big enough population, you need billions to build infrastructures that can do anything. And then once you realize the planet's tiny and there's hundreds of billions of galaxies that are close, I mean, we can see, then you go, oh my God, we're like embryonic right now. We're like a tadpole. And we're not just like we turn to a frog, we're turned to a butterfly. It turns into a spaceship that turns into a god, basically. And so we're a tadpole right now. We can do anything. And they're trying to tell us, no, you're scum, you're ugly, you're racist, kill each other, because the globalists want to extract out of us that essence of infinity that God's given us, that God essence. We're not God, but we're little g, that the first book of the Bible tells us. They want to extract that and use that for their life extension, their empowerment, their greedy control, instead of all of us sharing this incredible magic metamorphosis we're about to have. And they're trying to block the birth pains of what we're about to become, but I can tell them, you're going to fail.
That was a lot that he just said right there.
I don't know what's bringing the fire
for the interesting people.
Bringing the fire.
That's when you know you're in trouble.
I wonder what YouTube's going to do to this to our channels that we're streaming
greatly
with Alex Jones.
Improved and enlivened this. Thank you,
Tucker. Thanks for having me.
I'm your wisdom. Are you kidding?
I'm at Infowars.com right now, and we're very close to being shut down. But just like Tucker, it's going to be okay. But it's like they say in Empire Strikes Back: Imperial troops entered the base at Infowars. So I'm about to get taken out, but it's okay. I love you.
It's all fake news.
The best. We are done for the evening on the Tucker Carlson Network. We're happy to be back live. Tonight's show was brought to you and us by the Heritage Foundation. You can check them out online. And we'll be back soon here on X and on TuckerCarlson.com. Have a
Well, that was Tuck, man. Tuck did a great job, bro.
I thought he killed it.
He ended up with 1.9 million views.
Yeah, he destroyed it. Tucker destroyed it. And I appreciate everybody out there on the Rock and Roll Rebel Show. I see there's like 13, 15, 20 of y'all jumping in there, like and sub up. We got a couple subs added in.
I do have
We
one
love it
more
out
thing
there,
to
baby.
show
We
you
love
to close the show from the man himself. And yes, he is here live from Truth Social. We are talking about former President Donald Trump. Let's
Donald
hear
Trump
what's
it now? Oh my, this is a never ending. Oh my,
oh.
Trump now. Here comes Trump. Oh
Like
my.
try and escape accountability for the horrific devastation he and his party have created. All the while, they continue the very policies that are causing this horror show to go. We cannot take it any longer as a country. Joe Biden's sad excuse for a State of the Union address aside, here are the facts. When I left office, we gave Joe Biden the most secure border in U.S. history. We gave him remain in Mexico, very tough to get, but I got it. Safe third agreements, the asylum ban, Title 42, 571 miles of border wall, rapid deportations, and much more. We had the safest border in the history of our country. As soon as he got in, Crooked Joe and his radical left lunatics deliberately dismantled each and every one of those policies that were so good, that gave us this best border. According to Tom Homan, according to Brandon Judd, the top people, they said it was the single best border we've ever had in recorded history. What's happened now is a horror show. The country, our country, is being laughed at all over the world. Over the past 3 years, Biden has actively aided and abetted the importation of millions and millions of illegal alien migrants and resettle them into your communities. At any time during the past 3 years, crooked Joe Biden, and he is crooked as you can be and the most incompetent president we've ever had, could have called off the invasion. But to this day,
Big facts.
The hordes of illegal migrants and illegal aliens pouring into the country. By the time his term is up, we can have close to 20 million people in our country. And we have no idea from where they come. We have no idea who they are. They have no identification. Many come from mental institutions. Many come from prisons. They're terrorists. We have a calamity the likes of which we've never seen before. The very first bill Joe Biden sent to Congress was a plan to turn illegal aliens into voting citizens. That's just what we need. No matter what Crooked Joe says, his actions prove his priority is to import a colossal new illegal alien population and let them all stay. My priority is securing our border and sending Crooked Joe's illegals back home. Likewise, the sight of a feeble Joe Biden talking about shrinkflation, the term he uses, is one of the most ridiculous things this country has ever seen. Shrinkflation is just another way of saying inflation. It means that you're losing a lot of money because these people don't know what they're doing. It was all caused by crooked Joe Biden and the people that surround him. And they are radical left Marxists and fascists and communists and socialists. We have people running our country, the likes of which we have never seen before. He and the communists and his party looted trillions of dollars from you and spent it on illegal aliens and the Green New Scam, triggering the highest inflation in many, many decades. If your packages are getting smaller, that's the reason why, under my leadership, there was no inflation. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. It's time to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired.
You're fired, baby. Fired.
You're fired. So speaking of which, my name is Ron with the Kingdom Radio. We have Thunder Dan. He's your man on the Rock and Roll Rebel Show. It's been a great pleasure to bring this to you. Thank you, X, for letting us go. I know that it was Tucker Carlson's show, and I know that it was the State of the Union for Joe Biden, but thanks for letting us put that out there. You know, YouTube, follow us on YouTube. Go to X and give us a follow on that one. Like and subscribe. It really means a lot to us, and we'll be back on the next show with my man Thunder Dan from the Rock and Roll Rebel Show. Peace, everybody. Hope you have
Peace
a
out,
good night.
baby.
Stay
Like and
blessed.
sub up, baby. Like and sub up.
And I know that Thunder Dan wants to
Yourselves at
tell
all
you to
times.
protect yourself from all tabs, baby.